Hi guys, in my last video I started to talk to you about the application process for an ancestry visa. This video I'm going to go into more detail about the supporting documents you need to upload. So last video we left it off as talking about going on VFS Global where you can actually sign in and upload your supporting documents. Now I don't have an application in process right now, so I'm not going to actually click through and show you because I wouldn't be able to, but I'm going to show you the checklist that I made when I was uploading my supporting documents and how I made sure that I had everything I needed to evidence. So there are specific categories that will be listed on the VFS Global website, so I've tried my best to imitate those categories here. And each category on the website will give you more information as to which documents are needed in the first place. I printed out all of these documents as well. I made sure I had copies of them on hand, and some of my documents I actually brought in original copies to my appointment too, just because I'm a bit of a worrywart. I want to make sure that I'm overly prepared rather than underprepared when it comes to stuff like this. So here is my document breakdown. Now they want everything to be A4 copies, so that just means normal printer paper size. They don't want any staples on anything that's photocopied or submitted. So when you go in for your appointment, if you have staples and stuff, they'll get annoyed with you. And they want legible colored copies. I mean, that kind of comes without saying. You want to be able to read the information that you're giving them. So to my actual appointment, I brought these 3 documents. I believe you need to upload the visa application form as well on your supporting documents for VFS Global. Sorry, it's the checklist and the visa application form, I believe. So these would be good just to upload to be safe to your additional documents if you're not 100% sure, but make sure you're reading through the literature on the website firstly. So your visa application form, they take a look at the first page. There's a barcode on it that they scan that has your application number. So they link that to your biometrics when you go in. The checklist, just making sure you have the documents you said you'd bring. And then when you actually go to the appointment, they want to know that it's you and that you're there for the correct date. So make sure that you're bringing your confirmation letter to prove this as well, so they don't have to look you up and get annoyed with you. Now, upload categories, these are the things that I made sure that I had clear, legible copies of online. So Annex 2 basically just means documentation that proves you are who you say you are. So I only just uploaded a copy of my passport for this one. I think you can also upload driver's license, a copy of birth certificate, but that also falls under some categories below. So just make sure that you're reading into that one carefully before you're just uploading random things. But for me, I only just uploaded my passport. Evidence of employment. So I didn't have a job at the time. I just handed in my resignation and I wanted to do some supply work. So what I did is sign up to a supply agency. I sent them an email and I said, could I please have a letter? So I basically got them to put their letterhead at the top, which says that I have intent to work. So my letter just says something to the effect of, to whom this may concern, this person has signed up to work for our supply agency. They're good to go as soon as their visa is set up. If you have any questions, please contact me here. I had them sign it and then basically give the address of the workplace and a phone number they could get contacted on. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I was being safe about it and I was able to actually prove that I had intent to work. I'd imagine if you were able to show that you have a resume and that you've applied for a couple of jobs, they would consider that sufficient. If you have a job already, that's probably even better. I would just bring in a signed and dated contract to prove that you're employed. Financial evidence, they don't tell you a specific amount of money they want you to evidence. Now, different types of visas ask for different amounts of money. I would just make sure that you're able to show that you have a few grand that you're able to have access to prove that you're not just coming over and looking for a free ride. So in order to do this, you could use some recent bank statements. So I'd say only about a month or 2 old for your bank statements, just to show a current balance, so how much money you have. or a line of credit. So if you have credit cards you have access to, or if you have some kind of line of credit that you're already using. I was working in the UK, so I also submitted a P60 form. So I evidenced that I had an income and that I was paying my taxes. And then I also submitted a recent pay slip just to show that I was receiving a certain amount of money. And the pay slip also kind of shows backdated payments as well. This will vary, but I think bank statements are your best way to go because they can be recent. You can also get a nice letterhead on them. They look very official. Now, in terms of accommodation, this is going to vary as well. I think it depends on your situation as to what you are going to submit. Now, for myself, I already had an apartment. Fortunately, I had signed a tenancy agreement. I was able to prove that I paid a deposit. So I submitted these two documents, my tenancy agreement and my receipt of deposit. I'd imagine that if you were staying with someone for a short period of time, and I've done this with my Tier 2 visa, I was able to get someone to just write a letter and say, basically, this person is staying with me from this date till this date. They have my permission to stay here. And I mean, you can put details of the tenancy if you'd like to as well. And then basically, once again, just asking for a signature and a contact number if they want to look further into your accommodation. Educational information. I listed more than I'd imagine is necessary just because I wanted to prove that I'm able to work in the job I said I was going to work in. So I had all of this information on hand from applying for a student visa previously. I had a copy of my high school transcript, my university transcript. I had copies of my qualifications, so I had a copy of my degrees and certificates. My NQT and QTS status I submitted as well. So those are just teacher words. So I would just say if there's something that is relevant to a career that you are looking to pursue or a job that you've applied for and it's easy for you to just add a quick copy of it, upload it to be safe. Tuberculosis information, if you're Canadian, you don't need it. It's going to depend on your nationality. So I didn't need to submit anything for that. I just left it empty. Additional documents. So that's basically up to you as to what you're going to submit. I submitted some police checks because once again, these are relevant to my work. So I had a UK police check I submitted and I had a Canadian police check. I don't think you need these. I just did it just to be safe, rather safe than sorry. I also submitted a copy of one of my old passports and my BRP, so that's my biometric residency permit that just came expired. These are things I had and I'd previously used for visas I'd applied for, so I just figured why not. Now, this is the most important thing and the most annoying thing for ancestry visas to get a hold of, in my opinion. You need to evidence who you are and who your parents are, as well as your parents and who their parents are, and your grandparents and who they are. So you need for this a long form birth certificate. You cannot just use the short little one. So if you're from Ontario, like me, the one that just says your name and your birth date and where you were born, like it's like the tiny one that's wallet size. That's not going to work. They will deny your visa. They will ask for you to go get this information and then send it to them, which can delay the process heavily for you. So I'll talk to you about where you can get this information in a second. But firstly, long form birth certificate for myself, I ordered, and I also ordered my relevant parents' long form birth certificate. So I did this through Service Ontario. I'll actually take a look in a separate video about this because this video is getting a bit long. I have my grandparents' long form birth certificate. So this basically said who my grandparents were, when they were born, and their parents. And I had a marriage certificate to prove name change. So if you are applying for ancestry through your grandmother and your grandmother's birth certificate has her maiden name on it, you want to have some way to prove that they are who they say they are now. Marriage certificate, perfect way of doing that. And then at the bottom here, I also submitted copies of mine and my parents' short form birth certificate. So that was just me being a bit crazy as well. But I think I just figured I might as well, I have it, throw it at them if they want to see it. So yeah, if you have any questions about documentation specifically, feel free to list it below in the comments. I'm going to make a quick video on how to sort out your long form birth certificate. Closing note, if you're applying for an ancestry visa, sort this out first, your long form birth certificate, because you need that to be mailed to you and it's a pain. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. And once again, if you have any questions, list them below. All right, take care.